Start.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good
Am I
evening.
audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I, Dhruti Shah, on behalf of NSS Cell of University of Mumbai, NSS Unit B28 and Department of English of Nagendas Khandwala College of Commerce, Arts and Management Studies Autonomous, which has organized this university level soft skill development program, extend a warm welcome to our speaker for today, Assistant Professor Edwin Matthias, our Director, Dr. Mrs. N.C. Jose, Principal Professor Dr. Mashumi Datta, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator Dr. Mona Mehta, and I would also thank our Area Coordinator of Western Suburban District of University of Mumbai and NSS Program Officer Dr. Vivek J. Chobe, Dr. Vaishali Godeswar, and HOD of English Department, Mrs. Neeta Dhote. Convener of Soft Skill Development Program, Assistant Professor Nandkishore Sonar, NSS Program Officers of other districts of Maharashtra, our NSS faculty and student participants from guest and host colleges. It is our tradition to begin any program with a college anthem followed by the NSS song.
सत्य की ही राह पर चलने की शक्ति दे मुझे, सत्य की ही राह पर चलने की शक्ति दे मुझे, झूठ भ्रष्टाचार से लड़ने की शक्ति दे मुझे, जग में बढ़ा सकूं, नाम जग में बढ़ा सकूं, बना सकूं, दे मुझे स्वर भारती। एमकेएस विद्यालयों से प्राप्त शिक्षा महान हो, जो कि शिक्षित हो यहाँ अनेक एक इंसान हो, शिक्षित हो यहाँ अनेक इंसान हो। भेद भावना मुझे मन में सबको मैं अपना सकूं, भेद भावना मुझे मन में सबको मैं अपना सकूं। मैं बनूं इंसान अच्छा, जग में कीर्ति कमा सकूं, कमा सकूं, भारत भविष्य बना सकूं, भारत भविष्य बना सकूं।
देखो बाइसिकल का तो तुरंत ना बच्चों में इतना नीचे गिर गया रहता है तो
नहीं है वो सब सारे फोटो लेकिन उसमें नहीं है।
उठे समाज के लिए उठे उठे, जगे स्वराष्ट्र के लिए जगे जगे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे। हम उठे उठे गजब हमारे संग साथियों, हम बढ़े तो सब बढ़ेंगे अपने आप साथियों।
जमीन पे आसमान को उतार दे,
जमीन पे आसमान को उतार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे,
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे। चले
गाँव और शहर की दूरियों को काटते चले,
ज्ञान को प्रचार दे प्रसार दे,
ज्ञान को प्रचार दे प्रसार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे,
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे। वसुंधरा संवार दे।
22 तक का किया, जनवरी 22। सो हम बोलते हैं कि 23 का भी
So now an inaugurating video, we start with the inauguration ceremony and then continue with our session.
लेकिन इसके बाकियों पे आपने साइन लिया नहीं।
हेलो
लास्ट वाले में वो भी
Yes, sir.
देखो बटन है।
Hello.
Yes, Tisha.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Jenny, please play the video.
Okay, Tisha. Okay. Good evening to one and all. Thank you, every one of you, for being here with us today on the occasion of inauguration of ninth day of the Department of English, NOC, HOD of the Department of English, Associate Professor Nita Dhote ma'am, Program Officer and Area Coordinator Dr. Vivek J. Chobe, Professor Edwin Matthias, all the staff members, all the program officers. First of all, I would like to thank our principal madam for giving us permission
Such as inaugural
and
NSS.
Sushil Sinde sir for giving us permission for conducting this 9 days soft skill development program. Thank you very much, sir. I welcome you all the program officers, student volunteers from the different colleges under the jurisdiction of University of Mumbai. What do we mean by soft skills? Soft skills are character traits and interpersonal skills that characterize a person's relationship with other people. See, if we try to interact with people, naturally we would do good in our interview. So that rapport, that skill would be developed. So first session that is on listening skill. You know, listening is a virtue. We listen from the heart and we hear from the head. Okay, there should be good coordination between head and heart. Then second, that will be on social media skills.
Management.
Now this is the age of information technology, and the amount of information is doubling every year. You know, so that's why this is not an age of knowledge is not a power now. Information.
Sorry to
is
interrupt, Sonar sir. Madam has
Yes,
a very
sir.
important meeting just now, so please call Madam. She will speak and welcome. Madam, please do the honors.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay, madam. Okay, madam.
Good evening,
Yes, ma'am.
everyone.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Sonar sir. I have to go for a meeting. Good evening, everyone. Respected Shunil Shinde sir, Vivek sir, Sonar sir, Nita madam, Edwin sir, and whoever any other faculty present, my dear students of NSS, who are supposed to be the backbone of our college. And it is extremely a happy moment that every year we have been doing this soft skill development training program of 9 days. And, and this type of programs has definitely helped our students to think out of the box, which is very, very necessary. Now, initially, when we joined, we always spoke of hard skills, but now hard skills are definitely required. But at the same time, soft skills has become equally important. I think Sonar sir was very right when he was talking about the soft skills, that they are required in the day-to-day activities now. So, it helps to improve your communication skills, your solving problems, which is very necessary. So this is the need of the day. So I congratulate our NSS unit for organizing, and Department of English, definitely headed by Nita madam, for organizing such a fruitful and utilizing workshop every year. And I'm sure this year also many students will be benefited. So I welcome Shinde sir once again, and I have to take your leave also. I have a meeting with the management, so I have to go. So
No
I
issue.
wish you all the best. So Nar sir, you can please carry on. I was
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Sonar sir, you may continue.
Yes.
Bye, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you.
Sonar sir, you may
Thank you very
continue.
much. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So third session will be on stress and coping. We are well dressed, but we are always under stress. So that session will also help you. Then English grammar is also there. Grammar is the very foundation of English language, for that matter, any language. Then digital awareness, yes, that is also very important. How basic technology works. Then NSS and personality development. That session will be taken by our NSS very efficient NSS program officer, Dr. Chobe. And then 7 C's of communication. Then group discussion. These are all the sessions. I thank Madam Principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, our Director, Madam also, Dr. Mrs. Sanchi Jones, Mona Mehta, Vice Principal, Dr. Mona Mehta, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, and all the staff, Nita Dhote Madam, for giving us permission for conducting this program, for all the NS program officers and the student volunteers of all the different colleges. So thank you very much. Over to you, Tisha.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would request our program officer, Dr. Vivek J. Chauvay, to address our gathering.
Um, Respected Director, Madam, Dr. Mrs. Nancy Jose, our very enthusiastic and energetic Principal, Professor Dr. Maushmi Datta, OSD, University of Mumbai NSSL, Professor Sushil Sinde sir, HOD of Department of English, NK College, Professor Neeta Dhote ma'am, the convener of the Soft Skill Development Program, Professor Nandakishore Sonar sir, the speaker of today's session, Professor Edwin Matthias, all the program officers, all the faculty members, dear NSS volunteers, students who has joined this particular soft skill development program. I welcome you all. Without taking too much of time, because I know that Sushil sir is quite busy. Even he could not pick up my phone, but he joined the session. Thank you very much, sir. And sir has given us permission, at the night around 9:30, 10 o'clock, I called him, and then all the procedures were, just sidelined, and we concept and devising this plan for Department of English, all the three faculties in the leadership of our HOD of English Department, Professor Neeta Dhote. Thank you, madam. Sonar sir has taken all the efforts in coordinating with the speakers, in fixing the schedule and everything. Thank you, Sonar sir. So without taking too much of time, I should say that we should call first Sushil sir to proceed, and then because he has to go for a meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chaubey sir. Thank you, Chaubey sir. Thank you, Tisha, for making all these things arrangement. First of all, I should congratulate all the members of Nagendas Khandwala College, a joint venture with English Department and NSS for last 3 years. If I am right.
Sir, it is 7th year, sir.
This is 7th year, but for
yes, you are there.
Program, it is 3rd year. If I'm correct. And such kind of efforts, if you are putting up for making not only students of your college to benefit, but also rest of the colleges, this is a very broad vision which you are taking ahead. I congratulate all the team members of NSS and English Department for doing this great job. I saw all those topics which are been covered, and even Sonar sir was talking about all those sessions which are going to happen in this. I like the topics which are being chosen and which are very need of our, say, right from listening skills, because in this last 2 years, we might be listening a lot of things on net, attending lectures, but many a times we keep that on and we are somewhere away from the instrument. No doubt Corona has given a lot of things to us, new things to learn, but sometimes we are been pucked off with certain things. है ना, तो ये lectures के बारे में ऐसा मत करना. It is not necessary. Please listen to all the sessions. All are interesting sessions. You will be benefited, and it will bring some or other change within you. And you have to analyze, as you are all mature enough, you are all wise kids of new generation, the generation X. X के ऊपर भी X लगा देंगे, चल जाएगा अभी. So you are all great personalities, and I hope you will do better. I thank all the members, faculty members who are going to give lectures, and moreover the management and the principal of the college, Dr. Mosmi madam, and no doubt our mentor and guide, Nancy Jose madam, who always inspired, continued in next year also. This year, this 9 days program will benefit all the NSS students. I wish them all the best. Attend it regularly, sincerely, honestly, so that results can be seen hereafter. Okay? All the best for your sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Thank you,
in spite of your busy schedule, sir. Thank you.
I will leave for the time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Kishore, sir. Thank you.
Now, Tisha, you can continue as per your schedule.
Now, I would request our HOD and senior most faculty member, Assistant Professor Neeta Dote, to speak few words.
Associate Professor.
Ma'am, you
Professor
are on.
Dhote, you're on mute.
Madam, you are on mute.
Sorry. Yes, I realized that. Sorry. Uh, First and foremost, I think Professor Sonar, I need to, change that a little. You don't need my permission to, for us, to conduct this program. It is an honor, for our department. It is a collaborative effort, so you don't need my permission to be associated, in this program at all. And I'm really happy and glad that, you have become the face of our department for planning the whole thing and running the whole show. And of course, to Dr. Chaube, for giving us this opportunity to be associated with the NSS for the last 4 years. Since the last 7 years and 4 years now at the university level. And of course,
He is currently Assistant Professor of Communication Skills at Nagendas Khandwala College, Autonomous, Malad. He has a bachelor's degree in English from St. Xavier's College and a postgraduate degree in English from the Department of English, University of Mumbai. With 10 years of teaching experience, Edwin Sir has taught various facets of communication skills and creative writing at institutions like TISS, Lala Lajpat Rai College, SIMSR, etc. across the city. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, Katha. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. First
Yes,
of
sir.
all, thank you, sir. I am definitely grateful for our director, our principal madam, of course, the head of my department, Associate Professor Neeta Dhote, the NSS coordinator, that is Dr. Chaube sir, and of course, my colleague Sonar sir, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Students, I'll try to make it as interactive as possible. And well, let's hope that you're not bored. And let's see how well you can listen. As we know, or rather, if we were listening a few minutes back, Shinde sir mentioned that listening skills are very important because for the past few years, students have been logging in, but have they really been listening? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you YouTube links. I normally try to embed these links and play it on my slide. But then what happens is for some students, they either can't hear or they can't see depending upon the internet connection. So I'll be sending you these links. These links are barely 1 or 2 minutes long. The first link that I'm going to share with you, it's a clip from a Hindi movie. And you just need to watch that video. And later on, I'll be asking you to tell me which example, or rather, I should say, which type of barrier will be corresponding with that video. Okay, so you need to pay attention. This is how I'll make sure that you will pay attention. I'm going to post the link now. You guys can click on that link, watch it, and then come back to me, and then we shall start with my presentation. So let's start with the video first. Can all of you see that link in the chat? Yeah, one of you just confirm that the video is actually playing, and then I'll wait for everyone to finish watching.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Is it playing?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, is it audible to the others? I can't hear anything.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It is not audible, sir.
It's fine if you can't hear it. You can just watch it. It's okay.
Nothing is visible either.
Oh, it's not visible.
No.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
I can
if
only
it wasn't audible.
see all
Students, you
of
can't
us.
see it either.
So we can hear them.
So who is sharing that? You are sharing?
Yes, I have just
Sir,
sent that
the
to you.
chat box, you have to open it from the YouTube. Sir is not sharing on the Meet.
Oh
So
dear.
what is
Okay.
to be done? Please instruct us carefully. Bad
Sir,
listening.
Open the chat.
The link has been posted in the chat box.
Okay,
Individual has to open it individually on their phone or laptops. We are not present here.
okay.
Ah,
Okay. So
students, I hope you all,
bad
you all have seen
listening
the
is
video. Okay, I can see some are done. So looking at some of the smiling faces, I hope you people are smiling because you all managed to see the video, right? So yes, they are spreading rumors, but remember, in between of my slide, I'll certainly stop and ask, how is this video relevant? Okay. All right, let's move on and let me just present my slide. All right. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about listening skills, and what are we really going to cover today? We are going to make sure that we know the difference between listening and hearing. We are going to look at the purpose or the objectives of listening. Then we'll try and understand, okay, so once we learn how to listen properly, how does that help us? We also have to understand, why is it that listening is such a problem sometimes? Why is it difficult to listen effectively? And once we find out what those barriers are, we'll try and discuss how best to overcome it. So beginning with the difference, put very simply, hearing is a passive activity. All right, you don't really try to pay attention to the sounds falling on your ear. It's just some sound vibration you've just heard. For example, right now in the background, at your own home, maybe, perhaps there's the hum of the AC, there is the whir of the fan, perhaps your parents are talking in the other room, or your siblings are, and you're not really paying attention. Well, at least I hope you're not paying attention. You're barely aware of that sound. That's hearing. But when you try to make sense and you really pay attention, that is when you become a listener. Now, why is this very important? Especially in today's age when we are used to multitasking, very often we think we are listening, but we really aren't. All right. I'm sure that there may be quite a lot of us who are used to turning the television on, maybe, or turning their laptop on, and at the same time, they are on Instagram, on some other social media or the other. And the question is, what are you listening to and what are you paying attention to, the television or your phone? So that is why we need to really understand that we have to choose to be a listener. Now, why would people care to listen? What are these objectives? Well, we have to gain information very often. When something is of interest to us, if we want to clear our doubts, we'll try to make sure that we listen to the experts or we listen to someone who has been through what you have been through before, right? If the teacher has taken your I card, maybe you can then contact your senior. Your seniors will tell you what to do. Arey, sorry, bol de, chupchap ja wahan se. Arey, letter of apology लिख. Very often, even in college, even for the most mundane of things, you get information and you listen. You may not listen to what the professor is saying, but if your seniors have some information about college life, if your classmates have some information, you listen at once. Now, when you listen to this information, you also have to decide, do I go for this? Do I choose this? Do I buy this? So you are always listening to decide yes or no, right? So to make choices when you are listening to somebody perhaps trying to sell something to you, sometimes you have to settle a conflict. You have to sometimes listen and decide who is right, who is wrong. Or more important than that, you need to decide how can you deal with this conflict in such a way that both parties are not upset. So very often when you're making these decisions, even at home, even in college, you have to listen and listen carefully. Now, very often you listen to many people. Today, you have access to so many thinkers that we couldn't even, we wouldn't even dream of in our youth. Who are these thinkers I'm talking about? Whom do you people usually listen to? Can someone, let me just check in the chat. Can anyone tell me whom do you, by you, I mean the college youth, listen to very often, very seriously? Friends, sure. But if we talk about friends, what we very often call peer pressure or peer influence, that is something that even Chaube sir and Sonar sir and Dhote ma'am and I had. Is anyone familiar with this word that I just put in? If there are any business aspirants, they will definitely be familiar with this, or anyone who wants to be a big entrepreneur. But essentially, I'm talking about, okay, so Anup knows this person, Rohit knows. So what would you call this person? Who is he? Or rather, what is he? Wouldn't you agree that you tend to listen to many influencers? The amount of people you follow, the amount of channels you listen to. And today you have YouTube videos and shorts on pretty much any topic. So what happens is very often you hear a lot of advice and sometimes conflicting information and conflicting opinions. And you have to decide, all right, is this opinion worth listening to? So you have to evaluate opinions, you have to evaluate people's assumptions, your own assumptions as well. And that is why we choose to listen. Since we were talking about influencers, we can even talk about inspirations. Here in the slide, I have put examples of sales meetings and briefings and debriefings. Because what happens, students, when you start working, very often you will have team meetings. People's achievements will be celebrated. They will make sure that everyone knows that uh, a particular person has achieved a certain feat, and they very often do this and they give pep talks so that people are inspired by this. And of course, thanks to TED Talks and so many other live telecasts of what Mr. Pichai or, well, the late Mr. Jobs would do, everyone knew how they would inspire their staff. So definitely that happens as well. But in today's day and age, even when we talk of influencers and social media, a lot of people are inspired by these life gurus or life coaches that we talk about. Even if you're talking about spirituality, for example, I know that a lot of people listen to Sadhguru of the Isha Yoga Foundation, and you see a lot of people listen and they are inspired. So you will realize as you're listening to these objectives of listening that at different times you have decided to listen because of all of these reasons. You're not very conscious. You don't tell yourself, okay, I'm going to listen now because this, but you'll realize that you may, maybe your parents told you, maybe your teachers, maybe if I'm one of them who perhaps have scolded you that you never listen, or you are a poor listener, you need to listen more. The truth is, all of you are good listeners, and you probably have been doing a lot of effective listening, but subconsciously you have been deciding what do I listen to and what do I not listen to. And that is not bad per se, because we all do that. But we need to try and perhaps pay more attention to our decisions about what we need to listen to and what we can afford to ignore. The last point that I have put here is to improve one's communication. Now, I must admit that a lot of us don't do this, but there are people who want to be orators, who want to improve their public speaking. There are some who want to make it a profession. There are some of us who may want to be voice artists, some of us who may want to be hosts, anchors. And very often they have to get over their stage fright. They have to make sure that they enunciate, as in pronounce clearly while speaking to an audience. And very often that's why they listen to improve their own communication, because you can learn not just what to do, but also what not to do. Now, let's look at the different types of listening that are there. There's content listening, where you are just trying to understand and retain the speaker's message. There's critical listening, where you are evaluating and deciding, okay, is this person worth the hype? Are what they're saying really worth listening to? Are they making sense? Empathic or empathetic listening is when you try to look at things from the speaker's perspective. For example, let's say one of your classmates is making a presentation, and let's just say they are not doing a very good job. They are nervous, or their points are all over the place, and they are not really looking at anything. They are not, they're fumbling all over the place. Whatever they are saying and what they're showing on their PPT slide is not making sense. So it's very easy to be turned off, or it's very, very easy to judge them and say, oh, I could have done a much better job. But we could instead try and understand, okay, this person is quite nervous. Maybe they are not used to this, and it must be a tough task to speak in front of your whole class. So when you start to put yourself into the speaker's perspective, you become a more sympathetic listener. So the empathic listening makes you a more sympathetic audience, and then you start paying closer attention to what is being said. When we try of when we try to talk about active listening is really a combination of all these different types of listening, where you have achieved this awareness of what your personal roadblocks are, what your personal prejudices are, and then okay, listen, I tend to do this, I need to pay attention. Okay, I personally find FC boring, and I definitely find it very boring when Edwin sir is talking. So I need to remind myself that okay, I need to pay attention and make sure that I don't miss anything, because today evening I have my 20 mark test perhaps. So you have to be aware of your shortcomings as a listener, and then you have to take active steps to make sure that you overcome those shortcomings. That is what active listening really means. Now, what are these advantages? Why should we listen? How does effective listening help us? We just become better at communicating, which makes things better for us in our personal life, in our studies, and those, the students, when you graduate and start working, even at the workplace. A lot of misunderstandings can be avoided. Very often what happens is we save our best version for the workplace. Even I must admit, even I'm guilty of doing that. And maybe for you students, perhaps maybe some of you tend to do that as well. You are your best version, of the person you are. So you're a very good student. You listen. You are very obedient, perhaps in class. And when you reach home, you're tired, and then you are the most careless. You're the most rude. You're the most uncaring person, perhaps, and you're not really listening to what's going on at home. So, all of us, if we are effective listeners, we can be better, not just in our studies, not just in our corporate world, but also in our personal life. I told you that one of the reasons we listen is because we have to make decisions. If you're really listening, you will save time, because very often information is given to you, but you weren't paying attention when it was given. I think at least my students are, must have heard this line very often from me, especially when they come to clarify their doubts. And I will say something like, I just discussed this in class. What were you doing? Or didn't I already do this? Or, of course, the most famous request always, sir, IMP, sir, question bank milega kya? Sir, ye exam mein aayega kya? And very often, at least I'm guilty of saying this more than once. Didn't I already discuss this in class? So, if you really pay attention, you will be able to obtain information much quicker, and you will be able to make better decisions. Since I talked about the personal life, it's obvious. It's, when you listen, you become a better communicator, and that improves understanding. And not just personal relationships, but even your work relationships improve. It smoothens the communication process. If you're really listening, you will be able to communicate better, because you also understand how the other person will really get what you're trying to say. Now, from a teacher's point of view, from a public speaker's point of view, if you are a good listener, it helps me to perform better. It helps me to become a better speaker. And, it makes me, it reassures me that I am getting through to the audience. For example, when I ask questions and I get responses here from all of you, I can see that, for example, Prasad answered the question, although I did not see that earlier. Shubham, Nosin, Dia, all of these people are responding. And what that does, it tells me, okay, people are listening, and it helps me to really pay attention to this. Now, be it the speaker or be it the audience, if you learn to listen well, it changes your attitude. you realize very often that people whom you underestimate or people whom you don't take seriously have a lot to offer to you. And, even your attitude towards anything, towards the subjects you don't like, towards the teachers you don't like, towards your classmates whom you think are a problem or are weird, if you really listen to them, if you observe them, you will see that, you know, your perception of who they are was, well, maybe it wasn't completely wrong, but it wasn't completely right either. And you will realize that that person is not so unidimensional or not so one-sided as you thought they were. So I know it sounds like listening seems to be like a magical potion, right? But if listening is a huge part of observing without prejudice. And if you really listen to the people around you, it will help you in all of these things I've mentioned. It will make you a better decision maker. It will make you a better friend, a better son, a better brother, a better student, a better colleague, a better leader. It will make you someone who can really resolve conflicts and understand where the people who are involved in the conflict are coming from. It will make you a better communicator, so you'll be spending less time really going through all of that. It will also encourage the speaker, and maybe it will encourage you to become a better performer. Students, just a moment, please. Sorry about that. And like I said, once your attitude changes, you'll realize that if you really are paying attention, your opinion about people can change, and your attitude towards them can change as well. Moving on. Now we are looking to the barriers to effective listening, and we're trying to figure out, all right, so listening is important. We all have decided to pay attention at various points of time. We have perhaps subconsciously, perhaps consciously decided that, okay, I shall pay attention now. We've also seen that, there are so many advantages to listening. But if all of this is the case, then why are we not good listeners? What is it? And just a few minutes back, I told you that all of us listen quite well. We are quite effective listeners. So then what is really the problem? Now, pay special attention to this, because we shall look at some of the listening barriers. And we'll also try and figure out how that makes us poor communicators. And then we'll see, does the video even remotely attach itself to any of these barriers? All right, if you want, you can perhaps look at that video again, but not right now. Let's look at my slide and see what are the barriers. All right. Before I move on, though, I have already covered what is the difference between listening and hearing. We have talked about why people choose to listen. We have looked, that teachers ask a question, then they look into space, they blink 2-3 times, and then they answer their own question. Because the students don't answer our questions. So please don't make me feel like Dora the Explorer when I ask you the questions, okay? Anyway, now let's go to the barriers to effective listening. All right. The first one is physical distractions. If you are too hot, if the AC is, running at a very high power, as in it's very low and it's very cold, and you can't really pay attention, because very often what happens is, this is a biological thing. I think this is more of a gender thing. I think even in college, tell me if this is true because I always face this problem. In our classrooms, we have the AC on, but even in winters, suppose if it's only the fan that is on, you will always have girls complaining that it's too cold and they want the AC off or the fan off, and then the boys will complain and say, "नहीं यार, कितना गर्म है, fan चाहिए यार, AC चाहिए, एक तो कोई on रख लो." Tell me, students, do you all face this? Do you all have this temperature fight in your classrooms? I'm very
Yes, sir,
curious.
definitely.
Okay, my
Yes,
Madhuri has come to say that yes, I think she wants to represent all the poor girls who are always freezing. So even I mean, I'm mentioning this in a much lighter vein. But even something like this, it's too hot, it's too cold. It can distract you, and it becomes difficult to pay attention. I've mentioned physiological distractions here as well. Very simple. If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, or even more importantly, maybe because if it was too cold, if you need to go to the loo, we all know how much attention we can pay if we are facing any of these three problems, right? And of course, we laugh about it and we say, "Oh, come on, we are grown ups. Of course, we can, utna to control hona chahiye, yaar." It's true, thoda control hona chahiye, but you'll also agree that when you are faced with these distractions, it does become a little difficult to listen, right? So this is something we need to be aware of. Now, the next I've put is mental distractions. Mental distractions can be, you are not in a proper frame of mind. You're upset about something. You're excited about something. There is some event happening, and you're more, your mind is focused on the event that is about to happen. Or let's say it's your presentation. You have to present, and before you, this other team is presenting. They are talking about some topic. You couldn't care less. You are more worried about मेरे presentation में क्या होगा, वाइवा होगा क्या, सर क्या पूछेंगे, right? So we are more worried about, because we are going to perform, so to speak. So you're not paying attention to what the speaker is really speaking. I've put listening apprehensions here. This very often happens when the teacher says, "I will ask questions." If any of you go to church, what would happen is when we were kids and we would go to church, you have to listen to the reading from the Bible. And very often, if it's a children's mass, the priest will say that, "Okay, now I will ask you questions. What was the reading?" And that fear, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, Father is going to ask me." You are so worried about being asked and getting the answer right that you can't pay attention. For example, if I would say, "Okay, I'm going to, teach you about something, and after 15 minutes, we'll have a test, and it will be a 10-mark test, and these marks will be counted for your internals." Some of you will be so worried that you will have difficulty paying attention to what I'm really saying. Some of you may have really experienced this. I do not know how many of you have experienced this lately. This usually happens with school students, because they are more terrified of such things. With you, I do not know. If anyone has felt like this or can relate to what I'm saying, then you can put it in the chat. Non-verbal distractions. Now, there are two types of non-verbal distractions. One is facial expressions. You are trying to pay attention to someone and the person is behind the speaker and is trying to make a funny face, maybe deliberately. At least in my class, very often, if it's the fourth lecture or if it's the fifth lecture, what happens? आपका classmate किसी और class में से बाहर निकल रहा है, is at the door trying to talk to you and trying to distract you, right? And then showing the watch to you and saying when, and now you cannot really communicate, right? You cannot say pata nahi kab sir chhodenge, right? And you are trying to pretend that you are really listening to what I have to say, but your friend over there is trying to distract you. But sometimes the body language or the facial expressions of the speaker can also distract you. Sometimes, and that can't be helped, right? Because you may not want to be distracted, but maybe you find it odd, or maybe you find it weird. And if you find it odd, you find it odd. I can't really say how dare you find that odd. How dare you be distracted by the expressions I'm making? If you find it distracting, you find it distracting. But you have to be aware that, hey, okay, this is distracting me. Because if you have that speaker more often, or if it's a long, if it's a long session, you need to be able to address that. I have also put timing here. Okay, timing is very important, right? Imagine if this talk was at 9 o'clock in the night, or suddenly I say, all of you are responding so well to me. I feel like spending more time with you. How about this presentation go until 8 o'clock? I'm pretty sure that you may be all wonderful students, but I'm pretty sure that this will definitely be a barrier to effective listening, right?
Yes, sir.
One brave girl admitted to it. Okay. All right. So definitely the timing is important, and the length. Either you have to somehow make sure that the speaker doesn't go on for a long time, or you have to be mentally prepared that, okay, this is going to be a long day. All right. Let me move on to the next page now. Premature evaluation. Premature evaluation is essentially where you think, "Pata hai kya bolne wala hai," right? So you are not interrupting the speaker while the person is speaking, but in your mind, you're trying to finish the person's thought. You're trying to guess what the person is going to say. And what that does is you are literally playing a guessing game instead of really paying attention to what is being spoken. Prejudice. You have something against the person. So no matter what the person speaks, you will hear something completely different. Or you have a prejudice against that particular topic or that person. So no matter what you hear, in your mind, something else will happen. Okay? Semantic stereotype. It's any word or phrase that the listener has a problem with. Now, when I say problem with, for example, sweets in English, when you have something sweet after dinner, after lunch, it's called dessert. And my colleagues find it very funny when I say dessert, and they think it's really funny. And if we ever talk about it or whatever, it really distracts them. Now, you can't say they have a problem with it, but the way I pronounce it. Let me just put the word there in case you're not familiar. Okay, it's not desert, as in Rajasthan, for example. It's dessert. So, if I would keep saying this word, for example, and you find this pronunciation distracting, it would affect you. Very often, we teachers have this habit to say, okay, understood, right? And what happens is sometimes that can be distracting, because after every few sentences, if I keep saying, okay, understood. In fact, I'm sure some of you students must be playing this game, right? Counting game. देखते हैं एडविन सर कितने बार बेसिकली बोलते हैं, देखते हैं एडविन सर कितने बार ये बोलते हैं वो बोलते हैं. I'm sure you guys are playing. And I understand that can happen, especially if it's been a long day or you're tired. But sometimes the way the person says it can distract you, not put you off or put you in a bad mood. It just affects your concentration. So that is something you need to be aware about. Finally, the two others, partial listening and the speaker skills. Now, when we speak of partial listening, selective listening, okay, only towards the end I'll pay attention. It's an online class. So what happens in an online class? Starting mein, sir पूछेंगे, can you hear me? तभी बोलने का यस सर, डालने का चैट में यस सर, फिर जाके सो जाने का. And after 40-45 minutes you have to be awake because some sirs like Khadu's Edwin sir will call out your role. See, Tisha knows, yeah, sir, Edwin sir aise karte. So you have to suddenly say present sir. And of course, very often if you miss it, then suddenly someone will say, sir, there was a problem with my mic. That's why I couldn't say present when you called my roll number. And so you decide, okay, I'm going to listen now. Or if I suddenly say, for example, okay, speaking of the exam and the question bank, suddenly you'll pay attention. Okay, finally sir is talking about something important, the IMP, right? So that is called selective listening. Now when you talk of marginal listening, it is, you're kind of paying attention but not quite. We usually do this at home. You come home, you're maybe on the phone, maybe you're in a different mood and your mom is talking. Perhaps your mom is saying, this Masi called, that Chacha called, and she's literally sharing her day with you. You're like, and you're busy doing your own thing. You're turning the television on. You're not paying attention at all. But you also know suddenly she'll ask some question and you'll say, right? Or suddenly you'll chai chahiye, you know exactly what's those key words that fall into your ear, you will respond to that. Everything else, you're like, right? That is marginal listening. You literally are listening or paying attention to a few words, and you know that you need to respond to this. For anything else, you're not really listening to. This also happens to us when we are on a phone call for a long time. Sometimes our mind wanders, and your friend may be talking and you're doing, and if the friend is really, pakawing you, as we say, then you're like, and I say, acha, oh, you will use, but you're not really paying attention. That is called marginal listening. And when we talk about fake listening, sir is watching, so you look at sir, you shake your head. If sir says yes, you say yes. If sir does a face like this or makes a joke, then you laugh. You do not know what the hell sir is saying, but has nahi to sir pakdega. Okay? That is fake listening. And we all have been guilty of it. And the final point that I said, delivery, sometimes the speaker could have done a better job. That's true as well. We can say, no, you're not listening well. You're a bad listener. You should do this. And I've given you so many reasons. Because of this, you're thirsty, you're not in the right mood. You hate the subject. You hate the person. You hate the speaker, this, that. But, sometimes maybe the speaker is bad as well. So we have to acknowledge that. Very quickly, let's just look at this. Bad speaker, half listening, getting distracted by a word or a phrase, or maybe the way the person pronounces it. You have some problem against the speaker or against the topic. So no matter what you hear, you will filter it and you will put your own kachumbar in it. Trying to guess what the speaker is saying. Timing, wrong time, too long, too short. The person's face or body language is distracting you. You are not in the proper frame of mind. You are too nervous. You're too excited. You're too bored. You are too cold or hot, or you are thirsty or hungry or whatever. Look at all of this. Now, this is open to discussion, okay? Because this is not a right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. The video I showed you, does it show any listening barrier? What listening barrier would you think it shows? Does it show physical distraction, mental distraction, non-verbal distraction, timing? Does it show premature evaluation, prejudice, semantic stereotype, partial listening, delivery? Any opinions? No opinions? Oh, Nausin, I don't know if you're trying to say something, but at least I can't hear you. If your mic is not working, don't worry, we'll give you attendance. But if you want to say something, you can put it in the chat. Guys, any opinions? Remember, there is no right or wrong answer.
So prejudice.
I would agree too. There is obviously a preconceived notion. हाँ उन दोनों के बीच में कुछ तो चल रहा होगा पहले तो ऐसा ही हुआ होगा नहीं नहीं ऐसा हुआ होगा and then no matter what really happened, of course, it's a funny clip from this movie. Yes, it is an old movie. Yes, it is before you were born. But I still think that it's a funny clip. Anyway, now before moving ahead, we have talked about what goes wrong and why can't we listen properly. And we are now going to talk about how to overcome barriers. But before we do that, I want to show you another video. And I'm going to ask you a few questions after you see that video. And let's see what your interpretation of that is.
Excuse me, Edwin.
Yes.
I had a question, regarding this clip, the opinion that you asked. Could we say that this was dictated more by malice?
Malice, yes. I mean, if one were to interpret that, and of course, I just gave them a video and I did not really give any background to the movie. But even people gleefully spreading rumors, it's they obviously have a preconceived notion, and and at the same time, they want to make matters worse. It's not just that this person was seen with this person, but then and then this happened. So yes, malice definitely plays into it.
Yes, and the thrill gives them the importance of being the ones who spread the news, isn't it? It gives
That's
them that small time importance, isn't it?
That's true. So
because I mean, from the situation, you can make out there's some link between Amitabh and this Mala Sinha,
there's some
and
history,
they are
yes.
making the most of it. The others, isn't it? Societies.
So again, I'll just clarify that I am putting a link in the chat, okay? Because sometimes people cannot see what I put on the slide. So I'm going to put a YouTube link on the, I think it's barely a minute long, to give you the background. A little girl has, she made her mother sit on the couch, and she wanted to draw a portrait. So it is just the reaction. That's just it. Okay, so see the link and then get back to me once it's done. Again, one of you NSS volunteers can just confirm that the video is playing, and then I'll wait for your guys' reactions. Is the link visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
All right. And is it playing?
Just checking, 1 second. Yes, sir, it is playing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I'll wait for you.
Sir, it's playing.
So most of the people have done watching.
Yes.
Did you guys find it funny? Okay, so first question, is the mother lying?
Yes.
Partially,
Okay,
she was.
okay. Uh, Another question, why was the mother lying?
She doesn't want to break her daughter's heart
Okay, but why wasn't the daughter convinced about what the mother was saying?
because her daddy started laughing after seeing the toy.
Okay, so Saili, Shubham, Rohit, thank you so much. I am looking at your responses as well. Yeah, Diya is pretty sure that लड़की जानती थी माँ झूठ बोल रही है. Definitely. So
Secondly,
uh,
Edwin, she knows her mother too well.
yeah, yeah. The mother was trying a little too hard. She began overcompensating. Oh, where were you when I was taking my class photo and all? So yes, definitely. But yeah. Thanks, Janvi
Edwin,
Komal.
1 minute.
Yes.
Can we also say that the mother was trying to debunk or not giving the daughter the reaction she expected, to deliberately shock her, to change the equation?
Well, not to shock her, but she was
No,
definitely trying
shock
to
in the sense, to shock in the sense that she doesn't give her the expected reaction. Okay, so she kind of, she's twisting it, right? So she's still in the driver's seat. Can we say that?
Yes. As the audience, in fact, she
Yeah.
is
Rather
trying
than become
to.
an object of ridicule.
Yes. She's trying to kind of change the narrative so her daughter feels better. Definitely. Unfortunately, the father is of no help. Now, you see, a lot of you answered these questions, and this video is barely a minute long. But you could tell me that the mother is lying. You could tell me that. Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
that's
this is to Nausin. Nausin, if you're trying to say something, please put it in the chat because there is something, something's the issue with your microphone. Anyway, so as I was saying, a lot of you were able to get so much information, and all you did was listen very well. And of course, you also saw you had a visual aid. So after we look at the actually no, before looking at these barriers, why don't you tell me what type of listening did you follow?
To be empathetic and active at both the
Okay.
types of listening at a time.
Okay. Anybody else? Good. So I must tell Shinde sir that these students, their camera may be off, but they are thankfully paying attention. Even I feel active, empathetic. Yes, you're trying to look at things from. I can understand why you all are saying empathetic because you're trying to see this. You saw. I think in this video you can see things from the daughter's perspective and from the mother's perspective as well. The father's, of course, just laughing. And active listening, like I told you, is a combination of all of these listenings generally. So what is happening is all of you paid attention. You try to ignore whatever your filters and biases were. And yes, you try to definitely look at things from the character's perspective, as in the people featured in the video. So well done. Okay, full marks to all of you. Unfortunately, this will not be count in your internals. I'm very sorry to say. Okay. Now, let me quickly move on to the ways to overcome the barriers. We need to control our physical barriers as much as possible. Okay, so we need to, focus on the speaker. So focus on what the person is doing and saying, instead of saying, okay, I'll listen towards the end, or I will listen when the person is talking about this topic. Intro ko kyun attention dena, mujhe pehle hi pata hai kya bolne wala hai. Okay, that is not right. In fact, even if you think of, today's session, if you began paying attention only when I began speaking, for example, it was selective listening. You said, okay, what Moshimi ma'am is going to say, what Dhote ma'am is going to say, Sonar sir kya bolne wale hai, what Shinde sir, okay, wo chalega, wo sirf formality hai. If you did that, you practiced selective listening, which is not good. You must try and listen to what they have to say. If you would have listened to what everyone spoke, you would have realized the purpose of this. You would have also realized how the different sessions will help you. And you will also realize that everybody, all the authorities and all the, elder people in this group are taking this workshop very seriously. And you would have got all this if you would have focused on each of the speakers. Now, if looking at the speaker, or if maybe the speaker's mannerisms or the speaker's pronunciation is distracting you, then you can kind of switch to content listening a little, which means to try to focus on the message. For example, now it's got a little better, but earlier I would be very distracted when everybody would say opportunity, because it's opportunity. But most people, when they speak, they say opportunity. And sometimes that would, distract me. And, it's a word. Okay. As an English teacher, obviously, mispronunciation can, show up on your radar. Great. Now move on. Focus on the message. Try not to get distracted simply by the words. Keep an open mind. Try to listen. Sometimes, just because so-and-so person has spoken, you tend to listen. I'm sure your parents very often will say that, dost ne bola, you go and jump in the well, you'll go and jump in the well. But if I tell you to do anything, you will not tell. And the truth is, very often we tend to listen and give more value to certain speakers or certain people in our life compared to others. We have to be very careful about whose words we ascribe such value to. Most important, especially during lecture hours, during feedback time, try to paraphrase the speaker's ideas and get it confirmed, but don't overdo it. Okay, nobody likes a teacher's pet, right? What I mean to say is, don't do it just very mechanically. You don't have to even get it confirmed, but maybe, the best thing to do after a lecture, or when the lecture is done, or at the end of the day, try and recall, or try and write down, or try and tell yourself what you learned that day. And trust me, that will really help you in your studies as well. What happens is, very often, you have 4 or 5 lectures in a day. Kitna sunega aadmi? सुनने का बीच में break, फिर से अरे यार कितना सुनेंगे. And then what happens is, when the professor is talking, you think, okay, this is a very simple concept. Of course I get it. Of course I can do this. And then you forget about it. I'm sure all of you have been guilty of this. The teacher comes and says, has this topic been covered? What did we do the last time? And everybody is blank. Even if you paid attention, sometimes you can go blank. So it's always better to paraphrase the speaker's ideas. And if you think you're not sure that that is what the speaker meant, it's better to get it confirmed. Obviously, take notes. When I say improve at listening, improve at taking notes. You need to try to take notes faster. Now, when I say try to take notes faster, some of you have a habit to take dictation, meaning you try to write down word for word what the speaker is speaking. At the college level, that's not a very good idea. We don't have the time right now, but you guys can look up something called mind mapping. Let me just put it here. Or even doodling as notes. Some people, this usually happens in arts, in literature classes and philosophy classes, and maybe even history. Sometimes when something is being explained, you will see some students literally drawing and making cartoons, but they're not making cartoons of the professor, or they're not making cartoons of, caricatures of someone. They literally are drawing what they understood about the concept. or what the, if it's history, for example, that event or the chain of events that is being explained, they would literally draw it because that helps them remember better and understand it better. You need to figure out what is your optimum way of making notes. I would say mind mapping really works for more people. You can definitely look that up. Memorization techniques, mnemonics, association. If you do not know what these mean, I would suggest you take this down, take a screenshot, and Google them, because I don't want to kind of go off topic, but that all of this goes down to taking notes and paraphrasing. Because when you take notes, when you try these memorization techniques, you are making sure that you pay attention in the first place, because otherwise doing all this will be useless. Maintaining eye contact and using positive non-verbal communication. Now, when I talk of maintaining eye contact, I must admit that sometimes we students, Utkarsh, tree drawing, sometimes mind mapping is also called tree drawing. That's true. Basically, if you are familiar with, in computers, you would have something called a flow chart. It is something like that, although it's not very linear. Anyway, when we talk about positive non-verbal communication, I have to apologize to the students sometimes, because what happens is, you students are very respectful and you do maintain eye contact, you do nod, and you show us that you're paying attention. Unfortunately, sometimes if you are one of the only few students who are paying attention, and the speaker sometimes is guilty of locking their eyes on you, and sometimes they look at you and only you because nobody else is paying attention, and sometimes that can make you feel a little uncomfortable, right? Like, sir, mujhe kyun dekh rahe? I get that. Well, when that happens, you must understand that sir is not glaring at you. They are just trying to make sure that the person paying attention is understanding, because it's not just when we look at you in the class, we are not just looking to see, are you paying attention, कौन attention pay कर रहा है, कौन इधर उधर देख रहा है, चलो उसको punish करते हैं. Punishing you is honestly very tiring, and it's a way, it really is time consuming for us. We have to then make you write a letter, we have to take your iCard, we have to make sure you do this. It's a big headache. The reason we look at you is to make sure, are you able to understand what we are saying? Are you comprehending what we are saying? So when we are looking at you, we are not monitoring your attention. We are monitoring or gauging your comprehension. You need to understand that. So next time when we look at you, please don't, sir, mujhe kyun dekh rahe, ma'am, mujhe kyun dekh rahi hai? Get outside of that. You guys are degree college students. We are not here to run behind you with a ruler. Okay? Be mindful of that. We are almost at the end, but since I am a professor, I always like to ask questions. But before that, use the appropriate listening style. Active listening is very important. Active listening, guys, is basically when you know what your drawbacks are, when you know what your barriers are. There has to be a self-awareness, because for someone else, the barrier may be something else completely. You should know what can distract you so that you're prepared beforehand. Ask questions during the allotted time, and always look at any listening session as an opportunity to learn. We teachers try to make things interactive, and listening is for a long time, even for this longer time, I know is not easy, but you need to look at listening as an opportunity to learn. If you look at it that way, it will help you. There will be times when it's too boring, or you're not in the right frame of mind. I get all of that. The point is to not stop trying. Okay, that is very important. So you should definitely ask open-ended questions. Now, why do I say ask open-ended questions? Because sometimes, yes or no questions will really not always clarify your doubts, and you can always ask to ask for your doubts to be clarified. Be attentive. Try to answer or say in short, short में बोलेंगे तो क्या बोलेंगे? If you had to say it in your own words, if you have to repeat the idea and paraphrase it, say it in your own words, how will you put it across? If you can reflect, if you can show the speaker that you're paying attention and you are perhaps reacting appropriately, if you are attuned to your feelings and you're also being empathetic to the speaker, and if you ask deep questions, questions that make sense, that is also very important. Sometimes I get it, you don't have questions, and I know we feel this pressure of asking questions sometimes. That's not necessary. You're not trying to entertain a guest. It is not like khana khaya. You don't care whether the person has eaten or no. You don't care whether the person is starving, but still ask. Jevlas tu, right? When you are listening, you don't have to worry about small talk. Ask a question only if you think it's relevant. And try asking relevant questions. Now, to give you an example of active listening, okay, we'll look at these surveys later. I hope it works properly. But before we do that, my last video for you, slightly longer. This is from a show called Everybody Loves Raymond. I do not know how many of you are familiar with this. So this is about an Italian-American family. Now, I'll give you the quick background. Basically, this family, this couple that you will see, has one daughter and two sons who happen to be twins. And this daughter, who is the elder sibling, is suddenly very violent, very rude with her brothers. And, she's tearing up the toys, and she's being very, she's suddenly being a very disagreeable child. And, these parents, they do not know what to do with her. And they try active listening. So we're going to try and see how successful it is, okay? This is the last video, and then we'll move on to the surveys. Okay, as usual, you guys have to confirm that you can see the link on the chat and then that the link is working. Can you see the link?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and is it working?
Just a minute.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's working.
All right. So please watch the video and then let me know when you're done.
This is Michael's giraffe. He's crying now. Why did you do this? Pot is not an answer. Ray, that doesn't work.
It works. I just use all the worst keys in the neighborhood.
Look at this. Look what she did.
Try it.
Ray!
Okay.
No. Okay. Now let's talk about what you did. I don't want to talk. Are you feeling angry? You're angry.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not okay to rip up toys when we're angry. You are angry
Because it used to be your toy.
Yes.
I see. You think that mommy and daddy pay too much attention to Michael and Jeffrey.
Ray, okay, I'm just handling this.
Make it angry.
Right. And you're upset because we gave him your old giraffe.
I still like it.
You were playing with it.
But that doesn't matter, though. Because it was still yours. And you're mad because we gave it to Michael without asking, right?
But
Well, Mom and Daddy made a mistake. And everybody makes mistakes, right, Mommy?
yes.
You're better now?
Yes, can I?
It's broken, honey.
I know. I'm gonna try to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. Wait a minute. Amazing. You did it.
Somebody else is taking care of all around here. What? What's the matter?
Nothing with you, obviously.
Don't go by me. I'm a natural.
Oh, look. I'm so proud of yourself. Listen, if I hadn't dragged you to that stupid class, you'd still be standing there going, hey, no TV.
You're feeling inadequate because I mastered it before you.
Don't give me the active listening crap. Where do you get off listening to me?
Never happen again.
Yeah, we are done. Everyone.
Yes, sir, none.
Okay. Are the others done? Okay. Rakshal is done. Shubham, I'm happy you liked it. It used to be a very popular comedy show actually, and of course the funny thing here is that the wife is upset in a way that suddenly her
Sir, is
husband.
there any link for the presentity?
I'm sorry.
Is there any link for presentity?
Oh, for the attendance, I don't know. NSS volunteers, is there any link?
Through the feedback form, we'll get your attendance, which will be posted at the end.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, very important question, right? Attendance. All right. Okay. So this was a very good example of active listening. Don't you agree?
Totally.
Yes.
Yes. Of course, it backfired on the poor husband. But I'm sorry, Yogi. You have. Do you have another question, or did you raise a hand by mistake?
No, sir, it was by mistake.
Okay. All right. So I hope you got an example of how active listening is. Now, obviously, though, this is a scripted show and you can't be that good all the time. But obviously, with your relatives, with your friends, people you know, you can be a better active listener when you really try to listen to what they are really trying to say. And in a way, read between the lines, as we say. All right. Now, let me try and post these links. Let me see if it works. Okay. No, I don't want it this way. Maybe I need to escape and then try. You guys can just vote in that link that I have shared. And I shall try and see what I get here. Can you see that link? It's asking just one question. Can all of you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I have 23 votes. Okay. All right, I'd like more people to participate as well. That would be nice.
Done, sir.
Okay, great.
Done, sir.
Perfect. The next one now. I like someone has said depends on who's talking. Okay. Wait, let me, so that maybe even you can see the results.
Done, sir.
Yes, all right. Next, which is number 3. Okay, come on, I'd like more people to respond.
Done, sir.
Okay. Yes, I can see some more people responding. That's good. Okay. Let's go for number 4 now. Oh, interesting. I can see some feel that they can control these distractions, so they're not as important as other barriers. Okay, that's a fair enough viewpoint. That's all right.
Done, sir.
All right.
Done, sir.
Okay. The penultimate one for you. Number 5.
Done, sir.
Right. Let's move to number 5 now. I like that you guys think it's okay to try to guess the other person's word. So you think it will not distract you from trying to pay attention to the message? That means all of you were trying to guess what I was trying to say. That's interesting. All right. Well, at least I appreciate the honesty. I like how you guys think it will keep you engaged if the speaker is bad. Interesting that some of you see the merit in this. Guys, this is perfectly fine. This is just your viewpoint, okay? So don't think what is right, what is wrong. I really want to know what you think after this presentation. It's nice to see your feedback like this. Great. Come on, the last one now. I think the last one is not exactly a survey. I think it will ask you to perhaps write a little. Where is it? Maybe this one. Okay, great. Come on. We can have more than 2 responses. You can do better than that. All right. Okay, all right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for responding. It makes the speaker feel very nice. Okay, let me try and go back to this. Let's see. These are my references. If any one of you is interested, you can look these up. You can take a screenshot, or I can send it to you later. And if anyone is into anime, I just have a final message for you. We all have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So let's follow the ratio. Let's listen more and talk less. Okay. With this message, I end my presentation and my talk. You have been a lovely audience. You really paid attention, and you were trying to respond. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, you are more than welcome to ask them. Although I'm pretty sure that some of you are already waiting for it to end. It's been a long evening for you, I know, but still, thank you for your wonderful conduct.
Thank you so much, sir. Now the dice is open for the queries. If you have any queries, you can write it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. Well, I think there are no queries. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call upon our volunteer Tanvi to for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Am I audible? I,
Yes, you are.
Tanvi Shah, on behalf of NSS Cell, University of Mumbai, NSS Unit P20.
Hello, sir. Now we can left ourselves, na?
The feedback form link has not been shared yet, so you have to wait for a few minutes.
You can leave if you want,
fine,
but
fine.
then you'll have to wait for your attendance. This is very nice. I think even I must do this for all my talks. I must keep my attendance till the end.
The certificate will only be generated if all the 10 feedback forms are submitted.
I, Tanvi Shah, on behalf of NSS Cell, University of Mumbai, NSS Unit B28 and Department of English of Nagendas Khanwala College of Commerce, Arts and Management Studies, Autonomous, consider it my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this webinar. We are extremely grateful to Associate Professor Edwin Matthias for addressing us on this topic. He took valuable time out of from his busy schedule to conduct this session for us. I am sure all the participants must have benefited immensely from today's topic, listening skills. Thank you, sir. I am also grateful to our director, Dr. Mrs. Ansi Jose, our principal professor, Dr. Moshumi Datta, our vice principal and IQAC coordinator, Dr. Mota Mehta, and I would like to also thank our area coordinator of Western Suburban District of University of Mumbai and NSS program officer, Dr. Vivek J. Chaube, Dr. Vaishali Godeswar, and HOD of English Department, Mrs. Nita Dhote, Convener of Program Assistant, Professor Nand Kishore Sonar, for rendering us constant support. I also thank our management, the MKES, for giving us the opportunity to organize this event. I extend a big thanks to all our NSS faculty as well as the faculty of English department and student leaders for their cooperation. As no program can be a success without an audience, I would like to thank our participants as well. We hope you have taken away a useful lesson from today's session. Thank you all for making this event such a success with your patient presence. We request everyone to submit their feedback form to avail the certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin sir.
Yes, thank all of you. I thank all of you, sir. It was a good opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nice.
So can we switch on the camera?
The photographs.
Yes, sir. For that only, can everyone switch on their cameras?
One of you will have to take a geotag pic as well.
Yeah. Kanish, take geotag photo.
Done, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye,
Nice.
everyone. See you all tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks, Edwin. You were wonderful. I like the interaction. The fact that you gave them links, and kept them involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Shiva.
So you're not audible.
Sonar sir, can we leave now?
Yeah, sir. Please.
Thank you.
Sir, I am there. Yeah.
Okay.
All people can leave the session now. No problem. All the participants.
Okay, sir. Bye, sir. Thank you.
Please
sir.
make sure you have submitted the feedback form to avail the certificate.
Yes.
Can you please share the link again?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Please share the link.
The link for
I have a doubt. Hello. I have a doubt. Not regarding speaking skills, I have a doubt regarding.
You can leave the session now. Yeah.
Yes,
Sir,
Tanish.
like, I even messaged someone, sir, regarding the number of volunteers per college. So basically, it was like a fastest finger first in our college. because there are several volunteers who wanted to take part, and I just wanted to know if 3 volunteers from one college could be taken.
I guess I had got one message. I said yes, it was okay.
I was told,
Yes,
like,
yes,
I got
yes.
one, and what I was conveyed is they were ready to ask the program officer, not regarding.
Yes, you
Thank you.
can. Okay,
You
no
can.
problem. Huh? Yes,
Thank you so much, sir.
welcome. Welcome.
Jenny, please end the meeting.
Let all participants leave the meeting, please. Can you end the meeting now?
Yes, I am asking Jenny to do the same thing.
Let's wait that they leave and I think
Can I leave this meeting?
Yes, yes, you can leave the
Meeting, huh?
meeting. Yes. Everyone, please leave the
Okay, ma'am.
meeting after you submit the form. NKNSS volunteers can also leave the meeting once submitted the form.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.